In this Blender tutorial, I'm going to show you some problems and some potential fixes for when you're making parting lines for a 3D print slip cast mold. The problem comes in when you try to Boolean and then nothing seems to work. For example, here I have a mold block and a parting line. If I select the mold block and then activate the Boolean, suddenly most of it goes away and everything doesn't work right. For now, I'll hide the Boolean and hide the mold block. There's a couple things to check. The first thing is select the object, then select 3D Print Toolkit. We're looking for bad contiguous edges. This means that the normals of two different edges are incorrect. What does that mean? That means that the inside and the outside isn't the same. We can see this by clicking Viewport Overlays and Face Orientation. Blue represents outside, red represents inside. If I tab into Edit Mode and select Bad Continuous Edges in the 3D Print Toolkit in Blender, you can see that it highlights the same locations. An easy way to fix this is press A to select all the faces, go to Mesh, Normals, recalculate outside. There's a couple things we want to fix before using a Solidify modifier. We want to look at places like this. Notice this T-junction. We want to fix that so it's not a problem later. It'll be much easier to be able to put edge loops in when we fix the non-manifold edges of the Solidify modifier if we do a little prep first. To fix this, press Control R, and I'm going to add an edge loop here. Notice it won't go all the way because this is an n-gon, meaning it has more than 4 sides, or it's a triangle. Press 1 for vertex, select this vertex, hold Shift, select this vertex, press J. So now that's good to go. Here we have another one that's a problem, so I'll press Control R. This time, my edge loop can't go any farther because of this triangle. That's fine. Put it right there. Press 2, select this edge, right-click, subdivide, then press 1. Now I have another vertex here. Select the 2 vertices, press J, select this vertex, and press J. Now everything is looking good up at the top here. We have the ability to add edge loops. If you want to check that, just press Control R, and you should be able to go all the way through the edges right here. The quads right next to the T-junction, you're okay. Press Escape to exit. Down in the bottom here, we have a T-junction. So I'll press Control R, add an edge loop, select this vertex and this vertex, press J. If I want to check that this is okay, I press Control R. That's good to go. Now that we have the ability to add edge loops and our normals are fixed, we can go ahead and apply the Solidify modifier. In this case, for a parting line, we want 0.2 millimeters. Tab into Object Mode, apply on the Solidify modifier, then tab back into Edit Mode. Notice that all the normals are on the outside. This is good, so we're very close. Click Check All. We have 20 non-manifold edges. You can select that and see where they are. And just as expected, they're right there at the T-junction. So this is a relatively easy fix. We need to zoom in and determine which corner to fix. If you can't see when you zoom in, go ahead and select View, Clip Start, and add a couple zeros after the decimal point. Then the clipping will work better. Another thing you can do is press 1, select one of these vertices, View, Frame Selected. Back out a bit, and this makes it easier to orbit around that section. Press 2 for Edge Mode. We want to find the corner where the edges overlap. In this case, it's this corner. Notice on this side, the edges intersect at the end. So we don't want this one. I'll zoom out a little bit so you can see what happens. I need to add 2 edge loops on this inside corner. So I'll press Control R, add an edge loop, and then slide it over close to the corner. Then I need one on this section. Control R, make an edge loop, slide it over. We need one of these edge loops to go to the corner. It doesn't matter which one. So I'm just going to use the one that I have selected, and I'll type GG to slide it. GG slides it along the edge, and then just slide it till it's really close to the corner. Hold Alt or Option to select this whole loop and press GG. We also want to move it a little bit closer, and there we go. That way this back edge is okay. Zoom in a little bit, press 1, select this vertex, then that vertex, ML. Slide down. You can select this next vertex, View, Frame Selected. Back out a little bit. Remember, this is the corner. Select this vertex, hold Shift, this vertex, ML, hand down, select this vertex, then this one, ML. Zoom down a little bit, select this vertex, then that one, ML. Again, you can select this vertex, view, frame selected, back out a little bit, hold shift, select this one, ML. So now that corner is good to go, but we need to fix the corner on the other side. So we can zoom in, select this vertex, then the corner, ML, this vertex and this vertex, ML, move back up, this vertex, then this vertex, ML, this vertex, then this vertex, ML, and then all the way up to the top. This vertex, then this vertex, ML. Click View, Frame Selected. The next thing is to remove this edge on the top and bottom. Press 2, X, Edges. Then I'm going to go down to the bottom of the form, press 1, select one of the vertexes, View, Frame Selected, back out a little bit, press 2. I need to delete this edge here. X, Edges. Now, if I click on the 3D Print toolbox, before we had 20, check all. We have more non-manifold edges. That's because it created edges on the inside. Once we delete those, then it'll be okay. We can press 3, select these top faces, press H to hide them. Right here, this face is selected and it's interior, so we need to delete that face. If I press X, delete faces, then check all, notice the manifold edges goes down. You need to be very careful because you can select something that looks like a face. For example, if I select this, it looks like I'm selecting an interior face, but it's really that back one. You can press Alt or Option H to bring the faces back, or just click Non-Manifold Edges, and then it'll show you where the next ones are. So here, there's some interior faces inside here. Press 3, select the 2 outside skinny ones, press H, press 1, select that vertice, View, Frame Selected. Now we need to determine which ones are the extra faces. Press 3, select this face. If you see 4 edges around it in a narrow way, that's going to be the face. The same with this one. Press X, delete faces. Check all. Non-manifold edges went down. Select this. Zoom out. See if there's any more in the top section. There are some right here, so we need to find those. Press 3. Select a couple faces to hide so you can see what's going on. I'll press H and then press 1, View, Frame Selected. Back out a bit. And then we just need to kind of look around to see where the faces are. You can see that it's going to be these ones right here. X, delete faces. Check all. Non-manifold faces. And for the top section, it's just this one right here. So I'll press 3, H to hide, 1, select a vertex, View, Frame Selected, back out a bit, press 3 for faces, and it's going to be this last one right here. So I can just press X, faces, check all, non-manifold edges, and now there are no non-manifold edges in the top section. Then we just repeat that process for the bottom, and then everything will be manifold and work perfectly with an exact Boolean in Blender. Once again, select 1, select a vertex, View, Frame Selected, back out a bit, press 2 to see which edges go through. In this case, it's going to be on this side. I can orbit around. I just need to add an edge loop. Control R to add an edge loop. Move that one over. Control R to add an edge loop. Move this one over. 1, click a vertex, View, Frame Selected. Zoom out a bit. 2 for edge mode. Option or Alt click to get the whole edge loop. GG, move it into the corner. Select this one, the whole edge loop, GG, just to get a little closer. Then press 1, select this vertex, ML, this vertex, then this vertex, ML, move down, this vertex, then this vertex, ML, this vertex, then this vertex, ML, this vertex, then this vertex, ML, orbit to the other side, View, Frame Selected, back out a bit, this vertex, then this vertex, ML, pan up, this vertex, then this vertex, ML, pan up, this vertex, then this vertex, ML, this vertex, then this vertex, ML, this vertex, then this vertex, ML. View, Frame Selected. Now we have the same situation as the top. We can now delete this edge, X, Edges, then look at the bottom. Press 1, select vertex, view, frame selected. After deleting that last edge, we want to check all, see our non-manifold edges, look at where they are, and we can zoom in. Right here, there are two interior faces. I'll press 3, select these two faces, H to hide, and it's going to be those faces right there. Press X, delete faces. Check all non-manifold edges. They're going to be on this side. So here, there's going to be two interior faces. I'll press 3, H to hide. When you're selecting these thin edges, make sure you're not selecting the back edges, that they're definitely the interior faces. They are. Press X, faces, check all, down to 6. So there's just a couple faces down here. Press 3, select these two faces, H to hide, and then we can find the edges in here. In this particular case, it looks like there's an extra face that was created at an angle. So I'll X faces. Now, when we click check all, there are no non-manifold edges. So now this is going to work perfectly for a Boolean. Hopefully this helps you fix the non-manifold edges on a Solidify modifier on a T form, even with odd holes like this.